IEBC expects William Ruto, Raila Odinga, and the other candidates to have given their running mates by 16th of this month. It would appear many Kenyans are actually into this game and they are impatient. They can't wait under 10 days. Today, I want to give you Raila's running mate. Not because I've talked to him, but travel with me in this journey and you'll see that actually we would know who the running mate is. Before that, may I appeal to you, our viewers and listeners, to please press the subscribe button if you have not subscribed. Now to the running mate. Early last year, backwards, and up to mid last year, it was obvious Peter Kenneth, former Gatanga MP, was Raila's running mate for many reasons. Top on the list, he was constantly by Raila's side. And it was an open secret that the Mount Kenya Foundation were fronting him. And because the Mount Kenya Foundation, through a series of activities, revealed themselves to be power brokers and the men and women behind Raila Odinga's candidates, we believed it was not possible for Raila to ignore Peter Kenneth. And then Kalonzo Musyoka joined. And for a moment, it looked a settled deal that Kalonzo Musyoka will be Raila's running mate. Not difficult to see why. First, Kalonzo has been Raila's running mate in the last two general elections, 2013 and 2017. Secondly, by dint of seniority and experience, vice president, minister for many years, top official of the then only party KANU, his efforts, international peace efforts, it was obvious that by his experience, he was going to be Raila's running mate. And again, because the opposite side had said Raila was losing because he had lost Mudavadi, he had lost Kalonzo, but especially Kalonzo. Everybody seemed agreed that with the Kalonzo numbers, in the words of the late Vice President Michael Kijana Malwa, Gari Tosha. That was until Martha Karua came into the picture. And all of a sudden, it became an overpowering reality that Martha Karua was going to be the running mate. Martha Karua would bring credentials no other Kenyans around Raila would bring. She's a fighter. She's been in the trenches with Raila. She's a liberator, second liberation hero, a person who stood up against Daniel Arap Moi, late President Moi, then a very powerful individual. She did what no man could do. She was cut above the rest, including Kalonzo. She's fought for democracy and human rights. And people are saying, if you put Mother and Raila together, that image is a powerful image. I too saw that image. I said, if you have the image of Raila Odinga and Martha Karua, juxtaposed against an image of William Samoei Ruto and say Anne Waiguru, because people are saying the moment Raila picks a lady, Ruto will equally pick a lady, and the only lady would be Anne Waiguru. Now you can see what I'm talking about. Put side by side. Raila Odinga, Martha Karua on one side, William Ruto and Anne Waiguru. The image that emerges is so clear, and the choice will be very simple for Kenyans. People also said the women of this country, almost for the first time in our history, seemed to not only be pushing for a woman candidate, but they seemed ready for the first time to form a strong constituency. It appeared even to me from the numerous interactions, numerous observations I've made, telephones I've received, and so on and so forth, that women of this country would have voted for Raila on the strength of Martha Karua. So it looked obvious that Martha Karua was going to be the candidate. But that seems to be swallowed in the dynamics of politics. It's no longer that easy. It's no longer that sure. So I want to try and help us and arrive at who could be the candidate by using the elimination method. They have shortlisted about 7. I understand they have added another one to be 8. Let's go by the 7 that I'm sure of. And let's begin by removing Ali Hassan Joho. Not because Joho is not competent. In fact, I've always maintained this country will have a Muslim president sooner than many people think. And nobody would carry that flag better than Ali Hassan Joho. So the Sultan of Mombasa is capable, and indeed may very soon be the president of this country. But by elimination, we say Raila Odinga comes from ODM. Joho is from ODM, and they are within a coalition, within Azimio. How can they be in a coalition with more than 20 parties and then provide the president and his running mate? That will be untenable. So you remove Joho. Then there was Tarus. Again, he's not a heavyweight. Little is known of him. I don't think he can carry the Kalenjin aspirations. Not now. I know him as a gentleman, quite qualified, ambassador, member of parliament, a key player in the referendum of 2005. I know the gentleman. He's quite capable. But for now, he will belong where Kithure Kindiki belongs. That Kenyan politics seems to be politics of the giants. So 2 are off. You remain with 5. We must, perhaps a little too soon, land on Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka has outed himself. In the words of young people on WhatsApp, he has left it. By his actions, by his words, he is already not a person to be considered. He has chosen to be an irritant. He has chosen to overglorify his importance. He has created a sense of entitlement that I think is not tenable. Kalonzo Musyoka has already shown that with the Uhuru Raila history just still with us, Uhuru Ruto, he's not the kind of running mate or deputy president one would want. He has already said that the moment Raila is sworn in with him as vice president or deputy president, he will begin campaigning to be the 6th. Look at that. You don't need to read the 48 laws of power to know that bosses don't like people behind them who show their head, their ambition so soon. So Kalonzo Musyoka just cancels himself out. In fact, he has said, a bit in jest of course, but in politics, nothing goes, even a joke. He has said he will need numbers to impeach Raila if he didn't behave well. So that kind of person is unlikely to be anybody's running mate. So he has cancelled himself out. That now leaves us, I think there's one more I've forgotten, but I want to concentrate on 3 candidates. Martha Karua, Peter Kenneth, and Sabina Chege. And from these 3, you will see Raila is likely to have his running mates. First, Peter Kenneth. We have already said all the good things that he brought on board have been overtaken by events, by the dynamics of politics. But we must go at the boxes and see how many of those boxes he ticks and how we tick them ourselves. First, one of the reasons why Kalonzo Musyoka was not going to be considered, which fate also befalls Musalia Mudavadi and Weta the fifth, is that Raila and Ruto will have to go to the mountain. Let's not go into the details. That's obvious. So Peter Kenneth ticks the box of mountain. So does Martha Karua, and so does Sabina Chege. Peter Kenneth ticks one of the most crucial boxes, and that box is Murang'a. That the Mount Kenya will not only produce a running mate, but that running mate will have to come from Murang'a. So Peter Kenneth ticks that box. So does Sabina Chege. That leaves Mother out. But Mother ticks another box. Gender. I've said the women of this country seem to be pushing for a woman running mate. And I think they will have their way. So Martha Karua ticks. So does Sabina Chege. But Sabina now has the added advantage of not only being from Mount Kenya, like Martha Karua and Peter Kenneth. Not only is she a woman like Martha Karua, she is a Mount Kenya person, a woman, but above all, from Murang'a. So now you can see, save for drastic last-minute changes, I see Raila Amolo Odinga with no option but to pick Sabina Chege. Much as many people, I'm almost adding myself on the list of the many people, would have vouched for Martha Karua. The credentials she brings on the table. But in politics, what might be considered mundane, banal, small factors sometimes overtake what could be seen on the surface as the most important factors. What do you consider big, like the numbers from Kalonzo Musyoka, in politics is seen as hardware. But to succeed, you need software. And that's how Mount Kenya comes in. The software is the goodwill Uhuru and Mount Kenya people bring to this game. So you can see the goodwill with its salient features. The goodwill is overwhelming the hardware of numbers. And the goodwill has the capacity to generate numbers in a way many people may not see immediately. Finally, we must remove Kalonzo Musyoka because of his kind of person. We must then remove Peter Kenneth on account of another factor, that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is going home. No doubt about that. Contrary to what people think, he's going home. But Uhuru Kenyatta will continue to be the Mount Kenya kingpin. Forget about the things people are saying about him from Mount Kenya. In the fullness of time, they will embrace their leader. This country is wired to have communities get their leaders. And Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is that leader for the mountain in the foreseeable future. For that reason, unfortunate for Peter Kenneth, being a man who can be a man of his own, that kind of works against him. That you make Peter Kenneth the running mate, and he can quickly entrench himself. He has the resources, he has the pockets, he has networks. After all, he's even being fronted by the big boys from the region. And this is a man who can therefore upstage Uhuru Kenyatta very simply. I therefore see that what should be his biggest asset becomes his biggest undoing. You can say that to a limited extent to Martha Wangari Karua. Because Martha Karua also can stand her ground. She has proved it. In 2007 at KIC, she was the only man standing. All PNU men were under their beds. Mother Karua was there, the only man standing. She can stand her ground. She walked out on Moi in 1990, 91. I can't remember when. I think 91 thereabouts. When nobody could even imagine it. Walking out of a meeting with Moi, with the DP. That's the kind. She walked out of Kibaki's government. That's the kind of person Mother Karua is. Principled, tough. No wonder she's called Iron Lady. For that reason, that again, like Peter Kenneth, is an advantage, but it can also be your undoing. You can therefore see one individual stands. She has all the boxes ticked, and especially the last box, which is loyalty. The qualification for deputy, any deputy anywhere, including anybody who assists the CEO in a company, the principal in a school, the manager in an organization, the deputy vice chancellor in a university, the vice president of a company, the vice president of a company, of a country. The first qualification, when people tell you they are looking for people, they are looking for qualification. Number one is loyalty. Number two is loyalty. Number three is loyalty. And people, I have repeated this, seem not to understand. You cannot drive one car, two people at the same time, fighting for the steering wheel. Your sense of reality will be so disturbed if a spare wheel jumped from the boot. You run away, because that sense of reality will be so harassed, so disturbed. The running mate and ultimately the deputy president will be a person whose major quality is loyalty. And going by what has transpired in the Uhuru Ruto administration, no Kenyan in the near future, from now and until we forget, will knowingly get a running mate who shows signs that they will not be loyal. Take that to the bank. No presidential candidate, whatever force you are bringing on the table, presidential candidates will be really, really careful in choosing their running mate. Because what Uhuru could have achieved in his second term has been highly compromised by the dysfunctional government caused by discordance between the two players. That you have a president whose running mate is pulling the wrong direction. Remember, when you have a strong person like William Ruto, popular on the ground, you can't wish him away, you can't push him aside, you can't shove him aside. When you have somebody as popular as William Samoei Ruto and as ambitious as Ruto, you will have more than a third of people in the public service loyal to him, and they will sabotage a lot of things your government wants to do. And therefore, you can never achieve as a president what you intended to achieve if you have somebody like William Ruto as your running mate. Never. Even William Ruto himself will be very careful. Watch out and see who he chooses. He will certainly not want a William Ruto for President William Ruto. No, he will not want. President William Ruto would not want a deputy president like William Ruto. Never. Not. A friend of mine had an issue with his family. They divorced. After some times, the son differed with the mother. And he told the mother, I can understand. You are a difficult lady. Surely, even if you are the last woman left in the world, and you are not my mother, I wouldn't marry. Then I'll just be a bachelor. If you had a running mate who turns out to be like William Ruto, you will regret why you chose him. And for that reason, when you look at all those people, you are left with Sabina Chege, whose boxes are ticked until the last box, especially the loyalty. And she will not challenge anybody, yet she's capable. She's not just a person you can sweep under the rug. She's been in parliament. She's educated. She was in student leadership. She's held high positions. She's a person who can be president anytime. And therefore, today, I reveal to you Raila's running mate, Sabina Chege.